Hello, family. We're going to dive right in. Realize your true nature and allow for what you are, for inspiration, for the qualities of the divine to blossom from within you. I just got off a call in which this conversation and topic came up. The question that I was asked was, where does cultivation fit into this? How do we approach this notion of cultivating in ourselves that what we wish to express? Now, this is a word that I've used in the past. Cultivate. Cultivate joy, cultivate passion, cultivate gratitude. And without getting attached to the word and recognizing that this all goes beyond the distortions of our vocabulary, I believe that this idea that these are things to cultivate can, in fact, be a disservice to us. And the reason for this is that this idea that these are things that we cultivate or can cultivate or should set forth in trying to cultivate creates this sense of there being a process to this, creates this distance between you and the experience of these traits and these qualities within yourself, being that it's something that needs to be cultivated, created. I believe that these are the qualities of our true nature. Existing in a state of joy and appreciation and energy, enthusiasm, passion. All these words are pointing to a feeling experience. That's what we use these words for. It's our signposts to a meaning that goes beyond the words. But that state in which we wish to actualize and the experience of these emotions and qualities is a state of being that, rather than approach as being something that needs to be cultivated, I suggest you recognize it to be your true nature and there not being a process to this. Again, that word cultivation suggests it's a process. Can we bring ourselves to believe that in this now experience, within this now moment, this is an expression of ourselves that we can embody entirely? And the means by which we do this is through realizing who and what we really are, realizing our true essence. And this is where it all comes together. So, up until now, it might sound like this is just a play on words, but it's more than that, because realizing your true nature isn't something that needs to happen in the mind. It's not something that can happen in the mind, in fact. Realizing your true nature is an experiential practice that entails a shift in your being that goes beyond trying to and reaching for anything in particular. It begins with presence. It begins with realizing the self that is beyond the distortions of the mind, coming into that state of awareness in which you're not trying, you're not thinking, you're not cultivating. Rather, you exist as you are in your pure essence. And again, if I had to describe it with a single word, the word that feels most relevant to speak is this is a practice of presence, a practice of coming into this now, of being the observer. In doing this, in bringing yourself in connection with this moment and seeing it for what it truly is, beyond definitions, beyond the interpretations and the labels, and being in that I am essence, feeling into the truth of your experience. These qualities that are of your true nature, joy, gratitude, love, inspiration, positive inspiration that serves the all, that aligns with service to the all, these things naturally blossom within us. You don't need to strive. The striving, in fact, will inhibit the blossoming of these qualities. It's an awareness of a experiential state of being, a frequency, a feeling. Now, our thoughts, to some degree, can be used to invoke in us a shift, this shift. But what we're arriving to is a place in which we don't need to use our thoughts to create for a shift because we already exist as our true nature. We already exist in communion with our true nature, expression of our true nature. A nature in which, again, is experienced through letting go, through observing, through seeing through the distortions of the mind and the concepts that we create and latch onto. And then we come into this state of serenity and equanimity. This is our true nature. This sense of ease and peace is in alignment with our true nature. So we have to allow for that to settle. Can we create for this shift together? In this now, I'm going to allow for this to blossom within me through allowing myself that state of being, allowing that feeling, but letting go of all that disrupts it through bringing awareness to that which is beyond the interpretations. And in this, your true nature will be realized, and inspiration will blossom from within you. Now, where things get really creative is when you allow this inspiration to move you into a creative process. Because see, here's what happens when we connect to this essence of who and what we really are, and we exist in and embody the state of being. What tends to unfold, what always unfolds rather, is the emergence of a guiding inspiration, an inspiration to do in our physical world and create an inspired vision. But again, you got to go beyond thinking up these things in the mind and trying to sort out the details of what this vision is supposed to look like. If we go to the mind to create our vision and try to sort out these details, it'll in fact limit us, because the energy that moves us into our most powerful creations, the energy that moves us into genuine creative expression that comes from a higher inspiration, a divine inspiration, creative expression that comes from the depths of your being. This is the inspiration that will manifest as the most powerful thing that you can create for yourself and for the world. The most powerful, most fulfilling experience is found in being a conduit for the way in which divine inspiration wants to move through you as you. And so that experience of being in the flow, being creative. And when I say creative, recognize that that's entails everything. Creative is you're creating this reality. Everything of your reality is stemming from your creative energy, is of your creative energy. Letting go of, rather, really focusing in on channeling that sense of creative energy from that place of inspiration, from that sense of inspiration, will manifest into your gifts and as your purpose. But now your purpose isn't something you have to go putting a label on. It's not something that you have to define. And it might be interesting to hear me say this because purpose is perhaps the topic that I find myself talking about the most. But it's not something that you find, it's something that you be. It's something that you allow. And going looking for it again, is going to disrupt, impede, inhibit, limit the way in which your purpose wishes to manifest through you when you come from this place of aligning with your genuine inspiration. See, that inspiration is intrinsically tied to your creative energy, your most powerful creative energy is most effectively channeled when you come back to center, you realize your true nature, and you let that pour through you in the form of letting that which you feel most inspired to do to be done. Allowing you as a conduit, as a vessel for divine inspiration, divine energy, source energy to move you. So, in this process, the mind does get involved as a tool that supports you in bringing that into manifestation. The mind is the tool that translates the unmanifested into the manifested. The mind is a creative tool. The inspiration comes from somewhere deeper, somewhere unmanifested. It's an energy of frequency that then gets translated into an idea that will come in the form of a vision for what wants to be created in the physical. But you don't go too far ahead in this. Okay, if you try to think too far ahead rather than letting this come to you, then we come back to how this can be limiting. So it's more it's entirely about being really, really centered and focused in on now. What wishes to come through right now? What do I wish to create right now? What am I feeling most inspired to create right now? Only now. And not letting concern about the outcome, not letting thought be thought of the outcome distract you from just being in that state of being in which you're operating in a sense of flow. The flow state is the state in which our highest nature unfolds. So that manifests first from making this internal shift, this emotional shift first. This emotional shift will open you up to the insight and the inspiration that you move deeper into, you feel to greater degrees when you move into that creative process. So that's the key there. It should feel good. You should feel a sense of joy and passion and selflessness in this. Because in the flow state, the ego just naturally dissolves. There, that's a two-way street. In being above ego, you come into your flow. Being observant, but also as you move into this, it's that embodiment of that, because there's only that one point. So again, you're not thinking ahead here. You're not thinking about where that flow takes you. You be there now, right now. Are you feeling in the flow right now? This is something that is available to you at all times. In this now, you can surrender. You can allow. You can relax. I know that this is the greatest choice you can make. Don't let the mind pull you away from this here and now. Be centered in this here and now. And know as you do, as you come into your flow, that flow will take you into some amazing, amazing places. You can trust that. Even that's an egoic story, though. Even that's a story. But if it allows you to cultivate a greater sense of trust, then use those thoughts to a degree to invoke that shift. But again, it should be in realizing that you don't need the thinking to get there. In fact, that which where you're headed to is a stillness of the mind. In that stillness, in that state of intense presence, you'll know your true nature. And these qualities will naturally blossom from within you. Divine inspiration will begin to move you if you so choose to align with it and channel it into what you create. Align with it by acting on that inspiration and creating that which you feel most inspired to, that which comes from your joy. You're not creating to find joy, you're creating from a place of joy. And in this state of being, you serve your highest purpose. I see you, family. I see those of you that are with me in the comments. I want to thank you for being here in this energy, in this space that we've created together. And I want to express my gratitude and appreciation for all the support. So until next time, keep ascending.